Hey guys, welcome to this second session of the Blocks with Microbit online STEM course. So last week we actually took the time to talk about the inputs. We also talked a little bit about the basic blocks and how to get started and so on. So today's session, what we're going to focus on is actually on the second part of inputs. Right, and then once we have done that, we will try to talk about logic statements today. I mean, if we have the time, we'll try to talk about logic statements. All right. All right. So let's get started. Okay. Hang on a second. It feels like my system is having some issues. Okay. It looks like, yeah, everything is fine. Sorry about that earlier. All right, so let's get started into inputs. Um, we are going to reopen the project that we have been working on last week, and we are going to continue with that. So if you have followed the online tutorial in the recap session, for the recap tutorial, you should have this program. All right, so if you have saved it, that's great. If you haven't, you can actually start building it right now, as per what you're seeing on my screen. Okay, so moving on with the inputs, one of the things that we can work with, right, apart from button press, is also gestures, which I talked about last week as well. So gestures is probably like when you're shaking the microbit and so on, or when you are, right? So if we put on shake here, click on the selection menu, we should be able to see different options that are available, all right? So for example, when the microbit is falling from a certain height, right, when it's free falling, you can actually detect the where it is, or that you can detect that it's free falling. All right. So when it's free falling, you might want it to do something to alert the user. Maybe you decide to build something for skydiving, and then you can detect free falling and I don't know, say some, make it play a tune, that sort of thing. So this is just some funny, crazy ideas I can think of, um, and yeah, it also can be used, for example, if you want to build a handphone case that will um, do something, to protect your phone when it's dropping from a certain height. You can invent that as well. Recently I saw a video about this guy that invented this cover for phones, mobile phones, and then when it's dropping, it will just open up these legs like spiders. But I don't know. I find that the idea is a little bit weird. But yeah, I mean, I would have designed something a little bit different. But then again, I thought, it was a pretty cool idea. So when the phone is falling, that is what is the program is doing. It's actually detecting that it's actually in a free fall, all right, and then you do something in that event. Okay, so here, we can do a couple of things. Say, for example, if button A is pressed, we want to uh, detect the temperature, right? So remember we have the show string. Let's duplicate that. Let's make a little space. Let's remove this string. Let me say temperature. Actually, you know what? We can technically take this and put degrees Celsius. All right, so if you press button A, it should actually give us a temperature reading. Okay, so once that is done, what we're going to do now is we're going to turn off the uh, screen sharing. So we're going to press button A. All right, so perhaps I think we need to remove the show string in forever. Let's download the program again. All right, so I basically removed the hello world show string example in the forever loop block. So we should do the same. All right, so I forgot to remove that earlier. All right, so now when we press button A, it should show us the temperature reading in my room right now. Okay, so 27 degrees Celsius. All right, so this is one of the things that you can do in terms of input. The temperature sensor is an input, right? So basically it's reading information from the environment around it and giving you the information onto the display. Other things that we can work with also is like the light display. So the light level, right? So let's do a join in on button B press. I'm sorry, I sometimes tend to forget I need to share my screen. All right, so I removed the blocks, the block that is within the on button B pressed. Next thing we want to do is we duplicate the show string and snap it to the on button B press block, event block. All right, so now instead of temperature, we want to display the light level. Okay, let's download it. Okay, so if we were to look at the microbit board now, if I press button B, the 255 meaning, okay, so what does the 255 really mean? All right, so in terms of the number of values that it can read to measure the brightness, 0 means is as in it's off, it's totally off, right? Brightness. If it's about 128, yeah, around there, it'll be about 50% brightness. And 255 meaning it's 100% brightness. All right, so that's what it means. And also, you know, we can work with compensating. All right, so I think this is a perfect time for us to move on to using the logic statements, the logic blocks. All right, so let's create a new project. Let's save it as session 2. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up the logic toolbox. And we will start with the if-then condition. All right. So again, if it's grayed out, means that it's not going to do anything. It's not going to run. So what we want to do is we want to add a on button A press event, and then we're going to snap the if-then block logic block into the button press sort of actions. All right, what to do. Okay, so another thing here is that under logic, you'll find that there are a few things that you can do, right? You can choose between um, whether you want to do certain arithmetic operations. Arithmetic means your plus, your minus, your divide, your multiplication, and so on. All right, so that's one. The other option is whether it's bigger than, smaller than, and so on. Right. There are also options for you to compare if two values are true, whether this condition and this condition is true, or you can use a or, right? Or basically means either one of these conditions, if they are true, you want it to do something. All right, so let's start with, all right, let's use this. Okay, so we go back to inputs, we will select compass headings. If the compass heading, the degree is smaller than let's see, uh, 25 degrees. So let's just double check. I'm just gonna double check online, what's the what direction is that degree? All right, so if it's um, hang on. Okay, if it's 45, it would be pointing northeast. So we are going to show an icon. No, it's not here. Let's use show LEDs. The northeast will be here. All right, if we are facing northeast, that'll be the direction. All right, so yeah, this is just a basic example. No, actually, I think it would make more sense if we try to show it as the front of you, right? So if we are facing northeast, the arrow will appear, right? So this is something that I think, but yeah, on input doesn't seem right. Let's put it in the forever block, forever loop, so that as the program is running and we rotate the microbit board, it will show the arrow, if we are pointing exactly at 45 degrees. So let's compile this. Oh, crap. I didn't show you my screen again. Okay, so I'm sorry guys, if you're watching this video, I keep forgetting to toggle my screen sharing. Yeah, this really reminds me that I really miss having a more professional setup to do my live streaming. But yeah, I have a very simple setup here, so I just have to make do with what I have. All right, so yeah, I basically created this if-then block from the logic toolbox, and then I've added the condition for um, comparing whether the compass heading is smaller than, if it's smaller than or equals to 45 degrees, we will point towards the direction, right? The LEDs will show the direction, the arrow. Right, so let's save the program. All right, we'll stop sharing the screen. All right, so the thing with using a compass is that microbit requires us to sort of calibrate the compass. So, we need to sort of rotate it until it fills the screen. Sometimes it will ask you to draw a circle. So in this case, yeah, I just need to, where it says tilt to fill screen. All right. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. One more LED. All right, so it's done. Okay, so wait, let's see where it's northeast. All right, so I'm gonna keep rotating. All right, so apparently this is northeast. So yeah, this is lesser than or equal to, right? But it's not exactly northeast. So um, let's make sure that it's actually 45 degrees. So let's download the program again. So you see, every time when you use the compass, you have to calibrate. So you will have to fill the screen again. Okay, great. Let's rotate the microbit until it's northeast. Hmm, where is northeast? All right, so we have the exact point, all right, for the compass, and then it displays the arrow. All right, so that is actually the compass input. All right. Okay, great. All right, let's go back to the make code editor. All right, so there are a lot of other things that you can do in terms of logic statements. You can measure if a particular value is equal to, okay, let's say we take this away. And now we want to measure the, let's see what inputs we have. Temperature, right? So this time round, we are going to add an else, else if. All right, so if this condition is true, we will do this. And then if not, we will look at the next condition. And if that condition checks out to be true, then we will proceed with doing something else. All right? Okay, so let's work with temperature. Let's say we want to check if our room temperature is smaller than 27, smaller than 28 degrees. And we can just put a value here. Then we will display a string. And say cool. All right, if it's above, we'll say that it's warm. All right, let's give it a test. So basically in this forever loop now, it will keep reading the temperature. All right, it will keep looping and reading the temperature and trying to determine if the temperature is more than 28 degrees or if it's smaller than or equals to 28 degrees. Right? So let's look at the board. So here now you can see that it's actually displaying cool. All right, so yeah, quite simple, isn't it? All right, to work with temperatures, input readings. All right, so let's see what else we can work with. All right, so another thing that we can do is also to uh, measure the magnetic force. All right, so one of the things you can do with a microbit is actually to make it like a metal detector. Right, this is something I read online as well. I haven't actually built the project myself. I probably should. It sounds like fun. So yeah. So running time is basically yeah, since the number of milliseconds since your microbit has been switched on. All right. So one thing that you can do is that when you want to use a compass, especially if it's first time or sometimes when you are in a different location or you're powering up for the first time, it's always a good habit to uh, have it calibrate the compass. All right. So what I would probably do in a more real world example, I will use a logic statement to check if, the, let's say, the power up time, right? So we saw that earlier, the time that the microbit has been running. If running time is uh, smaller than 1 second, right? So, okay, maybe we put it as 2 seconds. All right, so it takes time for the microbit to power up and power all the devices on the board itself. So we give it a good solid 2 seconds. If that is the case, what we want to do is we want to calibrate our compass. I'm not going to compile this, but I just want to show you this so that you can have an idea of what the purpose for it is meant for and what you can do with it. So this is just an example of something that you can do with the uh, calibrating of compass. Right, so with that, I pretty much touched on the basics of logic statements, and I've also covered some of the other available input blocks. All right, so with that, I will end the short session here. Look out for the recap tutorial blog article that I'll be posting on Online Lab series. All right, so if you think that this video is good, if you find that it's helpful, make sure to like the video, and then of course, do leave your comments. In the future sessions, what do you want to see? What do you want to learn about? Do let me know. I'll be happy to, take it into consideration and put it into the lab curriculum. All right, so thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, guys. Until next week, I will talk to you guys again. Bye.